you dirty dogs, and welcome back to Continental Club, where I'm joined by these fine gentlemen on my left. They need no introduction at this point to discuss the hottest topics in Europe. Stop flirting, you pair. Let's go straight in with Sihan Maldora's question. Who is the best under-21 player in Europe right now?
Ooh.
A few suggestions for you. Ousmane Dembele, Kylian Mbappe,
Oh,
Marco Asensio,
oh,
our very own Dele Alli.
yes.
Well, not you, I mean you're Dutch.
Not yours, you're right.
Yeah.
Dutch Zimbabwean
Mine.
hybrid.
Mine.
Yeah,
My very
shock. You're the British one out of all three of us. But go on then, Pato, lead the charge.
We've already said him. I mean, Ousmane Dembele.
Yeah, well, elaborate on him for me then. Why?
There's nobody who comes near his level of talent. I mean, look, Asensio and Dele Alli have at least contributed to top teams now.
Yeah.
Mbappe hasn't quite done that yet. He was very, very good in the Champions League, but he hasn't played in the top league. He wasn't even a regular starter for the entire season. Ousmane Dembele made a simple transfer basically from Ligue 1 to the Bundesliga. Immediately was one of the best players in the league. Can dribble, can create, can score goals. Still incredibly young, one of the best dribblers in the world. I think that it's got to be Ousmane Dembele at the moment.
Well, yeah, Mbappe really turned it on after January, didn't he? Breaking Thierry Henry's record of 13 goals in the league for a teenager. Joseph, do you agree with PVS?
No.
Or does your answers differ slightly?
It does differ.
Is it Marcus Rashford?
Oh, no, it's not.
Good, that'd be
Talented player,
embarrassing.
but Mbappe, I'll go Mbappe. I think Mbappe purely because he was part of a title-winning team. And I think Dembele is a little way off it. Maybe that's harsh because I'm judging him more on a team, and I think Monaco were exceptional as a unit last season. All of their players gelled so well. But I just think Mbappe's got that little bit of star talent, that little something that Dembele doesn't quite have yet. I also think his end product's a lot better than Ousmane Dembele. But equally, I think we are just grazing over Dele Alli a little bit too much. I agree. He doesn't get anywhere near enough credit for the output that he produced last season. 20 goals.
Did he
is
get young
incredible.
PFA
I
credit?
think he gets
What
quite a
does that
lot.
mean?
I think he gets quite a lot of credit. But I see your point. Like what he's doing is genuinely
Nobody
unusual.
puts him anywhere near the level of Ousmane Dembele, do they? If you talk about,
That's because he's not as exciting, is he? He's
How
not a
much do
dribbler
you
from right.
think he would get in this current market?
Oh, disgusting amounts.
Sorry, no, yeah, Dele Alli.
Disgusting amounts.
Yeah.
Right up amongst.
Give me a figure. Pluck a figure out your arse.
120+ million pounds.
Oh, more than that, because it's Daniel Levy negotiating.
Yeah.
Don Levy.
Like you cannot get a player out of Spurs.
It's impossible.
Without them chewing your entire arm off. It's a nightmare. I mean, we haven't talked about Christian Pulisic as well.
Yeah.
And Asensio has now played and scored in the Champions League final. That's
Pulisic, I view him in a similar fashion to Mbappe in that he only started 14 games last season, and when he did start, he banged, admittedly. But you know, Ousmane Dembele is completing 4.5 dribbles per game. He's got double digits in terms of assists last season, in his debut season.
Also really want to see what Dele Alli
Bundesliga
does on the Champions League stage this year. I think Tottenham's showing last season was pretty unacceptable, and I think that Mauricio Pochettino will definitely be hoping for a much improved this year in the Champions League.
His contribution was a little bit unexpected, goals-wise, wasn't it, last year? 18 in the Premier League. He's going to have to maintain that, especially if Spurs sell Vincent Janssen and don't bring in any more reinforcements.
Well, it looks like they're going to bring in Fernando Llorente, doesn't it? Although at this
they're
stage,
stealing him from Chelsea.
It does look that way.
They've agreed a fee, but we're shooting this before the deadline day is finished. It is now 3 o'clock on a Thursday, so there's still 7 hours of the deadline day left.
You do wonder if Ali is due to become a proper striker one day. I mean, at the moment, he obviously gets to pay off Kane, and that's great because it means he finds so much space in the box coming in at the back post. But you wonder if he could kind of do something similar to what Firmino does at Liverpool. Firmino did start as a centre-forward. He was actually an attacking midfielder, but he's so good at passing, moving out, interchanging with the other attackers that it makes them incredibly unpredictable to play against. I think Dele Alli could do that if he was playing with superstar wingers.
I think Firmino's the best false nine in the Prem.
Yeah.
I think he's the best false nine in the world.
Bang. You heard it here first. But who has the best eyes? Fernando Llorente.
I have to say though, I think that Dele Alli, although he's playing as a sort of a false nine second striker role, let's not forget that when he first joined Spurs, he was a defensive midfielder.
Really? Is that why he puts in those stupid crunching tackles?
I just wonder whether we're underplaying his versatility a little bit because of his output. I think he could actually play as a central midfielder as well. I think he's that talented.
We haven't really seen that though. Like the thing is, at the moment, he's scoring so many goals. He's making the difference that you're like.
Maybe he's found his best position.
Well, also they're so solid in defence, Spurs, that you're like, why move him back? I mean, it'll be intriguing to see. My worry with Dele Alli is when he eventually moves, you might see that he's quite difficult to get the best out of.
Do you think he will eventually move?
I can't see him spending his whole career at Spurs.
No one gets out of Spurs.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of Spurs unless they run down a contract, and nobody runs down a contract with Spurs.
None of you have asked me who you think, who my player is.
Oh, was
Go
it
on,
Paddy
Paddy
Roberts?
Roberts.
You rude pig.
Olivier
Look at that. That wasn't even rehearsed. Apart from Paddy Roberts, no, I'll go for Asensio. He's just 21, so just about qualifies for this question. One of the most, I think, the most talented Spanish player, most naturally gifted Spanish player I've seen in my lifetime.
Ooh.
I'd put Busquets up there.
Yeah, I mean, in a less sort of glamorous situation.
He is up there.
Yeah.
Would you start him? Would you start him every game this season at Real Madrid?
I mean, I think
and
he's
if so,
got to.
who do you drop?
His output when he's played has been incredible. Gareth Bale is hanging on by the skin of his ball bag. Karim Benzema, whilst he does a lot of hard yards, then he puts in a lot of work for the team. Is again,
he's ageing a bit as well.
Again, the wrong side of 30. He dovetailed quite nicely with Ronaldo last season, but yeah, I'd go for Marco Asensio. But who do you guys go for? Would it be the Spaniard? Would it be Kylian Mbappé? Or would it be Ousmane Dembele? Vote in the poll just above someone's head.
Here, my
Joe's.
Red. Next question comes from the Ideas Man, and it is: what do you boys reckon to Monaco's replacements for their outgoing superstars? Obviously, raised a lot of cash, selling the likes of Bernardo Silva, Benjamin Mendy to Manchester City, etc., so on and so forth. But they've also bought in some stellar prospects, haven't they? Pato, kick us off. I was looking at Joe, but I've done the false pass to you.
Well, their income is kind of range from great to okay. Like, I don't think Rashid Ghizal is amazing, but I do think that Tielemans is great. Keita Balde is fantastic as well. And actually, in a lot of places, they didn't really need replacements. They had ready-made ones. They had George at left back, ready to take over for Mendy. They had Almami Toure at right back, ready to take over if Sidibe went. I imagine he'll switch between both sides this season, and it looks like they're going to keep Fabinho at this rate, which is quite useful for them. And plus, Glick and stuff, they'll still have a solid defence. I kind of like their moves. I brought Jovetic as well. Jovetic for 11 million for 11 million euros. I love Jovetic. I think he's a great player. His only problem has been staying fit.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of about 2 or 3 of them, and I'm not entirely convinced about the others. I think Yuri Tielemans could be a fantastic move, but he's yet to start a game, I believe. I think he's started a lot of football on the bench so far for Monaco. I think the biggest transfer of the summer, though, was keeping Jardim. There were so many people that wanted Jardim. I think even Arsenal were having a little sniff around him for a while, weren't they? He's such an exciting manager. And also keeping Falcao fit. I think the fitness of Falcao will have a massive, massive impact on Monaco's season. He's gone off like a rocket, hasn't he? I think it's 7 goals in his first 4 games. And if he can keep that form and keep his fitness, that's going to be key, because I think the likes of Keita Balde are going to take a little while to bed into that football team. Although
I think he's the most qualified to contribute straight away, actually, Balde.
Really, over Jovetic?
I mean, Jovetic, his output's never been prolific, has it?
But you know what you're going to get from Jovetic. You're probably going to get 10 goals, 10 assists.
Sevilla last season, probably barely even that. I think he's just a good squad player, good rotation player. I really like Monaco's setup. I was doing a bit of reading this weekend for a script that I was writing. Top 10 biggest selling clubs over on EFD. Here on EFD, in fact, go and watch that afterwards. And I'm just really impressed by their youth setup. They spend £8 million on it per year, their academy. It's actually an award-winning academy. They've got the best scouting network for the sort of under-18 age bracket in the country. They've got 6 scouts alone in France, which actually is more than any other club, and it's helped them secure the likes of Kylian Mbappé. And when you see some of their recent transfer dealings after the big money moves of Falcao, João Moutinho, James Rodriguez, have actually been really impressive. Tamar Lamar from KM for 3 million. Anthony Martial from Lyon for 4 million. They're actually going now for buy low, sell high, and a lot of those players, like you mentioned, Keita Balde, have resale value, don't they?
Big resale value.
Big resale value.
Tielemans as well.
They've become a selling club, but sort of on their own terms, and then they can be big rollers whenever they want to. Again, I think it's exciting.
Do you see them challenging PSG this year?
Be a Monaco fan.
For the title?
No, I think their goal this year has to be to finish in the top 3 and make it the Champions League again. I think they're going to have a tussle with Lyon for 2nd place this season.
Really?
Lyon are good. Lyon are good.
They have started well, frightening attack, Lyon.
But can you see anyone like matching up to PSG?
I don't know.
Really?
I think Monaco will push PSG pretty close.
Yeah, me too. I think Lyon, they've got, as you say, really exciting front 3, but I don't think they'll be as consistent as many as perhaps PSG and Monaco. The likes of Mariano Well, he's never played a full season, has he?
No.
Fekir, not sure if he'll stay injury-free.
Yeah, that's the big one, isn't it? Whether Fekir stays injury-free. I think they're going to need a big output out of Memphis Depay as well. I think Memphis Depay has started well though, actually.
He's very well placed to do it. I think if he has a big season, they might be quite lucky with Memphis Depay, because even if he has a big year, a bunch of top teams may think, well, it didn't work out for him at Man United, so we'll give him another season before we decide to bid. Yeah. So I reckon they've got him for another couple of years.
Yeah, United have of course got a buyback clause in there as well. So.
And are we discounting Nice? Look like they're going to retain Seri. Yes. They've got Schneider now.
They've got no Ricardo Pereira. Dalbert has gone off to Inter Milan. Cyprien, I think, is still recovering.
I think Seri's head's been turned big time as well. I'd be surprised if he performs as highly as he did last season.
Player still to come back from injury too.
Alessandro player, yeah, formidable player. But what do you guys think? Who will finish top of Ligue 1? Let us know. Yes, you guessed it. Somewhere there. Final question comes from serial contributor and possible candidate for fan of the season. It's Will Krappentag, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause.
Great name.
And he's asked, who is your surprise team to be relegated? I assume he means from the Premier League.
So we're not including the likes of Brighton?
I mean, they wouldn't be a surprise now, having just come up and probably...
Or Arsenal.
Probably got the weakest squad.
Yeah, Arsenal.
Nailed on to drop.
I reckon, you're looking at West Ham maybe. Palace would be the team I'd go for. And I'll explain why. I ask you, first and foremost, who do you think is going to go
down? I think between Newcastle and Swansea, for me, as my surprises. I say Newcastle as a surprise, even though they are a promoted team, you expect quite big things from Newcastle.
No, I agree. I don't think they should have gone down to start with. Yeah. But now they've come back up. They've not strengthened in the way they
I think they've strengthened appallingly. Yeah. I think some of their signings have been terrible. Look at the likes of Javi Manquillo. Appalling at Sunderland.
Mikel Merino, though, looks
Mikel Merino looks a good loan signing.
I'm not sure Joselu has scored over 10 in a single campaign.
What are they doing bringing him in? Obviously, it looks like Dwight Gale's leaving at this stage for Fulham.
Fuming,
which is an odd one. But I'll talk about Swansea for a little bit. I think that Swansea could be really good, but they could also be diabolical.
Oh, you've really put your neck on the line there.
But I think they're going to err more towards the diabolical showing.
Yeah, even with Renato Sanchez bossing that midfield.
Okay, their midfield's good. Their midfield is actually good on paper. I think Renato Sanchez, obviously one of the surprise, brilliant signings of the summer. Their forward line is extremely concerning for me.
Especially if Llorente goes.
I really don't see the output from that forward line in terms of goals. I think it's a lot to ask of Tammy Abraham to hit 15 goals this season on his first ever season in the Premier League. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I think he's a good player, he's a good talent, but I don't see him being the man that gets Swansea's goals this season. I don't see the goals coming from the wings either. I think the midfield, very solid. Forward line, average at very best.
It's interesting you say that, because you rate Tammy Abraham very highly, don't you? But do you see him contributing in a way that makes up for Llorente's outgoing?
Yeah, I mean, I think Llorente got a bit lucky to get 15 goals last season. The difficulty is obviously with Sigurdsson going what the supply line's like. But we always say actually that poor defence is what gets teams relegated, and that's why with Newcastle and with Swansea, I kind of hold out some hope. Because Clement employed a really defensive style when he came in last season, just about got them over the line. Benitez has always put a solid defence together. So I think they might be okay in that regard.
Alfie Mawson's looked good at the start of the season. Kieran Clark's looked good at the start of the season.
And they'll get protection, they've got Carroll and Mesa, who are your passers in midfield, and they've got Klukas as well and Renato Sanchez. So I think that's pretty solid midfield. I agree with you. The question is how many goals they can get out of Narsing, out of Jordan Ayew, out of if Jefferson Montero is ever going to start
again.
Exactly.
You look at those guys. Let's say those four: Narsing, Montero, Tammy Abraham. How many of those goals of the 26 you're losing, 28 goals? How many did Sigurdsson get? About 13 last season.
Yeah,
and I think Llorente got about 13, 14. Okay. 26, 27 goals. I don't see anywhere near.
But I think they'll probably need to score fewer than they did last year because they'll have a more solid defence. But I mean, I'd probably go for West Ham as the team who I think could stand a chance. I wouldn't necessarily put money on it.
I think they'll just survive West Ham.
But this is the issue with West Ham. You look at them and you think they should have the talent to stay up, but on the other hand, their manager is incompetent. Their board is incompetent. Yeah. Even if they don't go down this season, they've committed so much money in wages to mediocre or ageing players that next year they're not going to be able to do the investment that they need to improve again. They're going to be stuck with these guys who are in their 30s, who are getting worse and worse and worse. and they're just going to be spending all this money on them. They won't be able to shift them because why would you want to leave when you're getting paid 100 grand a week? Like, that's my worry with West Ham. And something came out this week where Snodgrass, who went there last season from Hull, said that when he arrived, Slaven Bilic said, so do you want to play on the left or do you want to play on the right? And Snodgrass was like, do you not know my position? And Bilic said, oh, well, when players are confident, they can play anywhere. Like, no, that's bollocks.
Bollocks,
Slaven.
yeah.
Like, that's not how teams work. And so I don't trust him to put in a competent defensive
But
structure.
I think Slaven will be gone before too much damage is done. I don't think Slaven is going to see out.
But then the question is who they get in. If they got in someone like, say, Claude Puel, who left Southampton, though I think he's taking another job now, then yeah, they'd probably be fine. If they got an Allardyce, he'd probably keep them up. But knowing West Ham, they'll do something absolutely mental and be like, is Kirbishley available? What's Pards up to?
That stadium as well.
Rubbish.
Still not quite right, is it?
Well, personally, I reckon Crystal Palace, mate. Obviously on current form, which has been appalling.
Yes,
shambolic. I'd be surprised if the ball makes it past January. Couldn't have had an easy start to the season. Who have they played? Swansea and Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Obviously losing both of them convincingly as well. They're absolutely crying out for defensive reinforcements. Failed bids for Sacco, failed bids for Mangala. I don't know where they turn to after this. Leicester bid for Callum Chambers as well, didn't they? Surprised you knocked them back for 20 million. I'd have snapped their hands off. Van Aanholt, he was one of their chief creators last season. He's not getting up and down the pitch as he was before. Sam Allardyce, as we highlight with Paul Clement at Swansea and Silver at Hull, made them a very sound defensive proposition, didn't it?
Yeah.
Now that the board's trying to revert to a possession-based system,
three at the back as
well. They look extremely vulnerable with that three at the back. So I'd put my money on them to go down, especially Zaha's out at the start of the season. Yeah. I know you hate Zaha, but I mean,
he's terrible.
He's a good outlet for Palace
last season. Exactly.
He is a good outlet for Palace.
He did have his moments for them. That's for sure. So yeah,
You're going Palace.
Let's flip it over to the audience. Who do you reckon? Palace.
I'm going to put my neck down on, say, Swansea as the shot.
Swansea.
West Ham.
West Ham.
Woo! By the pole. Yeah. Hey, nicked it.
So that was this week's Continental Club, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, get your questions to us on Twitter and Instagram. Handles will pop up somewhere on screen. Ooh, editing. Boys. Particularly you, mate.
Yeah.
You know, you're FD scum. What should they do next?
I believe Viral Football News will have gone live 1 hour ago, so go and watch that on Football Daily.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
And we do battle again in Star Wars this week, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Hopefully next week it will be the last fixture in the round of 16 on Star Wars Champions. Long-winded end, boy. See you later.